All right, Ansley.
Hi, Mark.
Ansley, you are you like the manager, assistant to Cosmo?
I am Cosmo's manager and producer, and I'm Cosmo's Queen of Melrose's sponsor as well.
Sponsor for his recovery.
Yes, I'm his sponsor in recovery.
How long ago was that you guys got started with that?
So I met Cosmo about basically like 9.5 years ago. So ever since then.
Tell me about that process.
So I had a few years of sobriety when I met Cosmo. I had just had my second child, and we met in Hollywood actually at a meeting on Vine. And I would drive all the way from like West LA just to go to this meeting because everyone was just so creative there. So it was just like a whole different level of recovery for me from what I had experienced in West LA. And Cosmo, Cosmo and I were just talking about the first time we met when I was driving over here, and I still remember what Cosmo was wearing. Like Cosmo was really skinny and like had like the, workout clothes on, and I kind of noticed I had shared differently than I had usually shared. I had mentioned something about the steps being like an exorcism. And I had mentioned something about, like a feeling like I was like on a Beyonce tour. And I realized that like that was for Cosmo. Like something higher had me use those words, because then Cosmo kind of came up to me after the meeting. He was like, wow, you have your kids here. Or I had one kid there. I had the baby there. And he really loved my share, and he couldn't believe that I used those words, and he just related to it. And he'd been having trouble staying sober, and I was like, well, you can work a program with me. I could show you something. And he said he was like, part of him was like, yes, yes, yes. And part of him just wanted to run away from me. Like, and so he had me come over and show him my program. And it just kind of stemmed from there. And I've been very, it's been great working with Cosmo. I knew that this program could keep him sober. Like, I think there's a lot of people, I know that the success rate of Alcoholics Anonymous is only 3%, and is
that right?
High. That's like a high estimate. Just because it's addiction, alcoholism, it's such a difficult thing to make sense of. Like, a lot of the doctors in the 40s like didn't understand it. And it seemed to just be like, even to this day, like even the health insurance companies are seeing that it's really all about peer-to-peer. So they're literally like basically paying people to do peer support. It's covered by insurance and everything. So there's something about it that it's like, one addict or one alcoholic talking to another where the solution happens. And so I always had compassion for Cosmo, because I felt like even though he couldn't really stay sober, I didn't blame him. Like, I think some people blame the person, like, oh, there's something wrong with you. I was like, maybe the rooms have failed you. Maybe you're not getting the support that you need. I think even some of the people were kind of jealous of Cosmo's success because he had his businesses, and but he didn't have his sobriety, and now he does. And we've been working a program together for almost a decade now.
What would you say is the secret ingredient, or what needs to be in place for a person to actually have a successful recovery?
Well, they have to really just make that one decision. Like, I have a desire to be sober. And they have to be attracted to sobriety, right? They have, like, and that's why I think that I'm excited to be going into nightclubs with Cosmo and like going onto movie sets and going and having our own music video set. And I'm excited to do all that because we're doing it sober and we're not just bored drinking coffee. We're not just only talking to like people in recovery that are just collecting, you know, assistance and they can't really work. Like it's you have to be attracted to it the way that I was attracted to that meeting in Hollywood, that I was driving all the way from the West Side just to be there, even though I had just had a baby. But I needed to have that joyous release of power. I need to have that like relatedness and reflection. I need to hear people sharing honestly from their gut, from their heart. I needed to hear people sharing their experience with like being professional musicians and being, you know, professional directors and actors and all these things. And I needed to kind of meet the you know, kind of the what I would call like the birds of paradise of LA. And that was very attractive. So you have to like want what someone has. So it's important that they have someone that has something that they want. And I know that sometimes people come into recovery and they're like, oh, you know, Robert Downey Jr., will you be my sponsor? I want what you have. I want to be like Iron Man. But it has to be so much more than that. It has to be, but that is a beginning, because when someone respects the mentor or the like it's almost like an apprenticeship. And it is a craft. It's like, okay, you're learning the art of living sober and going through all the things life's going to give you: deaths, births, wedding toasts. A lot of people have the fear like, oh, I can't be, how am I going to, I want to drink champagne at my wedding. That's something that comes up for a lot of people. People think, oh, I can't be creative if I'm sober. And people say, well, that's my solution. That drug or that drink over there, that's my solution. But when they hear other people living better lives, living their best lives sober, and when they hear that, hey, it starts out fun, then it's fun with problems, and then it's just problems, and then it's jails, institutions, and death. Like that's where it leads, you know. And a lot of people think like it could never happen to them, but then when it does, we need to be around people like us. Like if you want to get fit, you got to go be at the gym with everybody. If you want to get sober, you have to go be around sober people. And, you know, we are the company we keep. So I think that there has to be a willingness to take direction or suggestion. And in order for someone to do that, they have to respect that person enough to listen to them. And they have to have a psychic change, a spiritually transformative experience in their sobriety. I think every single day, and I think that's why a lot of people relapse, is they're not having that. They don't have anywhere to put their emotions. So they go back to like something that anesthetizes the fear and the resentment. And Cosmo's a very wise person. Like I've noticed that about him. Like he always seeks wise counsel from like a myriad of people. And I've always really seen a lot. I've often been around successful people, and I see that there's that humility of like seeking counsel. So he's just, I think that he had that humility, and I knew it was, if he did the work, I knew it was going to work for him, because he reminded me of me. He reminded me of my lineage. I have a sober lineage that Cosmo's in now, where it's like there was someone who put it all together, like put together that, hey, you can real alcoholics and addicts pretty much have to meditate, ideally transcendental meditation, twice a day, every single day. Now, there's a lot of meditators out there, including David Lynch, who practice transcendental meditation, which is just one of hundreds of meditations that exist, thousands probably. But they may not necessarily be alcoholics or addicts. But the alcoholic addict, it isn't, for us, it's like we can't just like always meditate. We have to like clear the mind even more. So it's putting that pen to paper. It's that like energy flowing through the fingertips, that where you're like the word alcohol has the word alchemy in it. And so there's something about like turning, like going straight to the page. Like a lot of people, they can't express themselves. And so it just becomes depression. And a lot of the time, there's a lot that people have to say, but you cannot say it to this one or that one. Like I've worked with men, I've worked with women, I've worked with trans people, I've worked with all kinds of people. And sometimes with men, I see there's like almost like homicidal inventory, like wanting to like hurt someone. And you can't go around saying that, but you could write it on the inventory. And by writing it there and asking for it to be removed, it does get removed. So it's being able to go to a place and be rigorously honest. There's no judgment on that page. It's like, be rigorously honest. Write what you have to write. And then meditate. And then do your life. Then go do what you need to do. And so Cosmo took that direction, and I'm like a one-trick pony. Like he'll come to me and I'm just like, okay, let's get your pen and paper out so that he can face himself and he can get relief, that I'm not wagging my finger at anyone. I'm just encouraging him to put it on paper. And it's not, and meditate and get to a meeting and carry the message. And he's a message carrier, definitely. That's why his episode did so well. And I really want to thank you, Mark, for giving him such a great interview multiple times and all the work you do.
No, but he's just such a character. It was destined to happen. I'm just the conduit. Yeah. He became a star after that first interview we did.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. Like
he loves it.
He's a star. He has the star quality.
Mm-hmm. And you, so working with Cosmo on a daily basis, mm-hmm. what kind of things are you doing?
So I just started working with him in April. And because like, basically, I've produced a few events with him for him. I've produced the podcast. We have a music video coming out. We have a perfume short film prequel coming out with the music video, and I just like handle whatever comes our way. Like we just, I talk to a lot. There's a lot of people that want to do stuff with Cosmo. So I just negotiate those deals, and I talk to people and just do whatever needs to be done. It really is a fashion empire. There's like 200 designers that Cosmo is working with, and we're just trying to get everything more online so we can have more online sales.
His store is so unique.
It is.
This is not stuff you're going to find at any other store.
It's like a museum.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to really take that into account with like, I do the social media for the stores. I do his social media, and each piece is original, and it's wearable art. And there's an artist behind every single one of those pieces that has a story. And I love that he gives that platform for artists. Like, artists need to make art, and this is so important for the mental health and the, addiction and everything is to create. Like, that is a huge solution.
Absolutely.
So,
like to not be creating, I don't understand how anyone can keep things together.
Right? Yeah.
And there's a million forms of creativity. It could be, lawyers, plumbers, whatever. They're all forms of creativity. But if you're just allowing the drug to derail you from that, you're lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And if creatives aren't creating, like, they will turn to drugs, I think. Like, it's
or
essential.
something addictive.
Something. Yeah. There's so many forms of it, right?
There are a million vices out there for us.
People could be anorexic. They could just starve themselves. It's
a minefield. What was, so you were into drugs before your recovery?
Yeah, I'm 14 years sober, and I was an alcoholic and for 10 years. And I just decided I had to get sober and wanted to get sober. And I had lost myself, and it was almost like a divine intervention. And I started drinking, I think, in like maybe at 16, and then went to college, and I went to UC Berkeley, and just noticed all my friends were alcoholics, and a lot of them are still addicts and alcoholics. I don't keep in touch with that many people, but when I do see them, like, I'm like, wow, you guys are like addicts, and you're like multimillionaires, and you're like buying and selling companies. And
there's a lot of functional addicts, aren't there?
Yeah, there really are. And it's like, well, why don't you drive? It's like they lost their license. So there's evidence. Why are you going to the hospital? Like, like there's evidence of it, but they're functioning. And, I have had to bury a lot of people too. So I've seen a lot of addicts just die, around me. So, but yeah, I'm really glad I got sober. I was functioning. Like, that's the thing too, is you have to build a life that you could be sober for. My first job I went to business school. And my first job out of school, I was a strategic management consultant. I went all over the world. And I just couldn't, it was something that felt like I couldn't be sober for. Like, I was doing a good job. I was getting promoted, but I couldn't be sober for it. Like, I had to drink to do it. And because it was a lot of traveling, like, there were a lot of other functioning alcoholics like there. And then I moved back to LA. I'm from LA. I'm born here, raised here. But I luckily got to go all over the world. And then I came back for the film industry. So I was like, there's a term called pulling a geographic, which is where you're trying to fix yourself. Really, the problem is the alcohol, and the lack of recovery. But you're like, oh, if I can move here, everything will be good. If I can get out of this relationship, everything will be good.
Does that ever
work? If I can change jobs, everything will be good. Not if you don't have the foundation. It doesn't work. That is the message in almost every pitch you hear in an AA meeting, which is, I pulled a geographic and it didn't work. I still found the wrong people. Like, you can run, but you can't hide. And for me, it was actually, LA was more confronting for me, because up in San Francisco, I didn't have a car. So here I had a car. So, you know, it was a little more confronting, and it was interfering. You know, I'd abandoned this like really good job, you know, just to like be in the entertainment industry. And so I really I had to make it work. And it was starting to like, it was like getting in the way of everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to like ruin the whole reason I moved back here. And
what was your lowest point? How bad did things get?
Sexual assault was my lowest point. And like, just like having like some liver problems and, you know, just really fearing for my safety. And yeah, that was it for me, where I really saw like, okay, like this is it. And it was, yeah, that was my low point. And I was like, oh, I think I'm an alcoholic and I think I need to go to AA. And I went, and it took like, and I didn't want to drive drunk. Like I had driven drunk, and I was like, this is so irresponsible. Like, this is bad. Like, I'm a different person. Like, I'm so conscientious when I'm sober and I arrive, and it's like I could have one drink and be like, oh, I can't drive. Like, but the one drink would lead to more, and then people would be begging me. People that were already wasted would be begging me, don't drive, taking the keys, and then still finding a way to do that. And I just didn't want to do that to society. And I didn't, you know, I fell off a roof one time and I was unscathed, like ran across the PCH in a blackout. Like, you know, it was really, and the thing is like, yeah, it was a lot, you know, and I'm just so much happier sober, you know. I'm just so much happier. Like, there's so much less uncertainty in my life. And it's been 14 years that I've been sober. Like, there's no way I would have my family, my marriage, my children, my dogs, if it weren't for it, you know. It wasn't sustainable.
Do you think it was something you inherited from your family, or just something you created on your own?
I don't think I inherited it from my family. No one in my family was an alcoholic that I know of. So it was weird that it was something that was affecting me. And I grew up in a sober household. My parents didn't drink at all, and it wasn't because they were alcoholics. It was for religious reasons. And I found that I was happier in my childhood before I started drinking than after. And so I wanted to, it wasn't that hard for me to say, you know what, I don't even want to, like, I just want to be sober. Like, and I feel very lucky that I grew up in a sober household. And yeah, so I had that going for me. Yeah. But yeah, there really aren't any alcoholics in my family.
Have you helped others other than Cosmo with their recovery?
Yeah, I've helped a lot of people. I have to kind of make sure I take care of myself.
Well, it's really, I mean, helping others is really a great way for an addict to stay on track.
Definitely. Because it's like, it's a disease of selfishness, self-centeredness. And I think we all need to feel like we're useful, and we have to feel useful to like the world that we're in some way. And when you do relevant, as you know, I mean, you move the needle every day. Like I see you as like a social engineer. Like when Cosmo.
Depends who you ask. Depends who you ask. There's plenty of haters out there.
Well, there's always going to be haters. Like anyone, yeah. That's what my sponsor told me. My spiritual mentor reminded me of Eminem. So him and I were company that wouldn't normally mix. In some ways, me and Cosmo are probably company that wouldn't normally mix. But through the common purpose of recovery, like you end up meeting people that you would normally never meet. But he said, he quoted Eminem like the first day I met him. And he's like, you got haters, congratulations, you're doing something right. And that really reset my mind, like just that one sentence alone. And I just try to be real mission driven, like just accomplish the mission, whatever it is. Like today it was like, get here. And like there was all this stuff, like my eye had this problem and the car door wouldn't open. It was just all these things. And it's like, no, Cosmo said he couldn't come, like complete the mission. Just get there. And that's what I try to do. Just pass it on. But so
until someone's ready, you just can't force, you can't coerce, you can't manipulate them into. There's a quote that I've mentioned before in some of the other interviews I've done. When an addict wants to get sober, no one can stop them. But when an addict doesn't want to get sober, no one can make them.
It's true. It's true. And I'm trying to learn that too, where even now at 14 years sober, I do this, like Cosmo and I do this 9 a.m. Zoom call every morning. And today I was like, I'm not going to text anyone to come on. They know it's at 9 a.m. They know the link never changes. I'm just going to go on at 9. I'm not going to text a single person. And we're just going to see who comes on. Mm-hmm. And that was, for me, that was like a new level of freedom and happiness. And it's to your point. Like, I don't want to have to like force anyone into recovery or their program, because then they're just going to resent me later.
And bring down the whole meeting anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
To have somebody that just isn't that motivated doesn't help.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that when I can't even hardly change myself, but when I'm find myself trying to make anyone different than how they are, no matter what, I'm just like, what can you do? Can you pay a parking ticket? Can you go to the gym? What can you do to change you today? Not them, because when I change, like, I notice that people around me change anyway, period. But I can't make them do anything. It's just, I just have to be out for my, my recovery, and people will either be magnetized or they'll be repulsed by that. And Cosmo and I laugh about that all the time. You want to end a conversation, just start talking about the AA book or the 12 steps. People gotta go. Yeah, bye.
Cosmos' energy is just so great.
Yeah. Yeah.
He makes everything fun.
Yeah. It's all about having a sense of humor. I'm trying to get Cosmo to do stand-up.
He'd be great.
Right?
He'd be great. Sure.
Yeah.
Ansley, let me ask you one last question. What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in this journey of yours?
I would say that, like, I would say that the most important thing is, like, that there's, like, spiritual warfare. And there is a battle. And, like, I cannot... There's basically, like, you can't be dissuaded by resistance or conflict. You have to just, like, proceed forward. And I think athletics is a really good, simple example that I think about all the time, because in spirituality, which is a big part of recovery, there's almost this toxic spirituality about just being overly positive all the time. But I'm about, like, applied spirituality of like an athlete. When an athlete's getting into shape, and training, it's going to hurt sometimes. Like they're pushing their body to the limit. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and you do it anyway. It's not about being comfortable. Like that's not where the growth is. And just to kind of accept that, and like I try to look at things almost like a movie, right? Because I make movies, and that's been shaped my whole life. And I look at myself like a movie, and it's like, what is happening to this character? Like, is it an interesting movie if nothing bad ever happens to them? No. There's got to be obstacles, or we don't have a movie. And it's about that character's soul's evolution. So I just embrace whatever comes in my way. Like on a good day, like, okay, I've got to try to evolve. And I try to witness that for other people. And I try to like show them like the higher picture of, and encourage them to keep going. You know, I try to get them to see a bird's eye view, and I try to see it like a screenwriter, because I've had to write a lot of screenplays. So
It's awesome. All right, Ansley, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
And I wish you and Cosmo lots of luck in the future.
Thank you so much. And it's been really great working with you. Like, just so many people in our music video, they've been on your channel.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, like
you actually helped. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You were going to say?
Oh no, go ahead.
The guy I interviewed recently from Alabama, Ryan.
Ryan.
You and Cosmo are helping Ryan get into recovery.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
Yeah, we took Ryan under our wing, and he was ready. And here's the thing too that I want to say, like, it takes a lot of people to get one addict sober. And it didn't overconsume my life or anything, but it took like 20 people just to get Ryan to where he is. It took you, Mark. It took Noelle. It took Cosmo. It took Cosmo's employee. It took me. It took my cousin who works in treatment who found him the rehab. It took the people on my meeting who were there when he came onto Zoom. It took the kind people at the store who said, you know what, my husband killed himself. Like, please don't kill yourself. Like, it took me talking to his mother. It took his mother and his stepdad being supportive. Like, there were at least 20, if not 40 people that had to really have some level of like virtue going out just to get one addict sober. And it just is very humbling, you know, how they say when you're raising a child, it takes a village. It takes a village, and it takes diverse people. Like, I'm seeing in this new era, like, it's not just about people going to AA or people being court ordered here or there. It's like, it's got to be that diverse environment. And that's what I see that Ryan had. And he's someone that made use of it. You know, we both know Rebecca, not ever, you know, and I'm amazed that she got onto the Pretty Boy Delaney movie. And that was all you.
That was a miracle. By the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
He barely made it.
We wanted him in our music video, but he wasn't reachable. Rebecca's
dancing to a whole different drummer or something.
Yeah.
All right. Ansley, thank you so much for sharing your story, and maybe we'll talk again later with the journeys of Cosmo.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
When I was designing the first Softwood Underbelly book, I realized that there were so many great portraits that weren't going to make it into that book. They just wouldn't fit. And once I saw how well that first book sold, I knew I'd have to design a second book. This second book is finally ready to ship. Like the first one, this book has a collection of some of the best portraits from Softwood Underbelly, accompanied by a quote from that person's interview. This book features another group of Rebecca portraits, as well as a collection of color images of the Whitaker family, and plenty of others. You can order yours for $125 or $150 for a signed copy at softwoodunderbelly.org. Again, like the first book, once this book is sold out, I will not be printing more of them. The portraits are what Softwood Underbelly is all about, and these two books contain the best of all that work. Thank you for watching.